listener production.
Hey, Antoinette Lattouf with the weekend briefing. You may remember the show Love on the Spectrum. It took the world by storm because it showed another side to reality television, another side to dating shows, without all the drama, without rose ceremonies, and instead it gave an intimate look at love and relationships when you're on the autism spectrum. And this is exactly what self-described hopeless romantic Michael Theo wanted. He wanted to do away with the drama and the theatrics and the crap and just focus on people searching for love. Michael's an actor, podcast host, and he lives with autism. In this chat, he gives me some really honest insights into his acting debut in the new ABC TV series Austin, and also an update on how his search for love is going. And he has a checklist of everything he wants in a partner, and he knows exactly what the deal breakers are. Later in the show, Helen Smith will take you through the weekend list, giving you tips on what to see, what to do, what to eat, what to buy from Aldi, what not to try, and everything in between. But first, here's my chat with Michael Theo. Michael, welcome to the weekend briefing. So I learned something new about you recently. It's that when you were a child, you way back then knew that you wanted to be a voice actor. And I'm curious as to what spurred that interest so young.
I'll explain, Antoinette.
Yes.
I've been a huge fan of animation since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's what sparked it.
It's interesting, though, because a lot of people wouldn't necessarily join the dots that behind animation is a voice, but you were obviously able to.
Yeah, of course, because during my early childhood years, I grew up watching Looney Tunes because my dad was quite a fan of those animated episodes back in the day, because they were all those old shows from the golden age of American animation.
Yes. And
as I grew older, I did a lot of research into animation and knew that animation is just the voices are voices from actual people.
Mm. Did you have a particular character or show that you enjoyed the most?
Well, my favorite animated show ever since I was 3 years old is Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, right. And that's still going, isn't it? I think that's still being made.
Actually, the original show was ended 3 years ago, and now it's been replaced by a terrible reboot.
Oh no!
Which I refuse to see as well.
Oh, sometimes it's better just to quit and retire it rather than do another version. Now I think a greater understanding in society about and in the community about autism and neurodiversity. Is there anything that you still think is misunderstood about living with autism or neurodiversity?
I don't think that there is so much these days, because back in the 2000s, people didn't know much about neurodiversity or how to interact with neurodiverse people, as I learned the hard way during my high school days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because that wasn't easy either. A lot of my old school friends weren't there for me when I needed them the most.
Do you find that your interactions with people in society has shifted significantly since then?
Yes, they definitely have.
Yeah.
Because as I grew older and as everybody else grew older alongside me, it became easier to socialize with others.
Mm. Well, Love on the Spectrum played, I think, a pretty big role in terms of
definitely
reaching mainstream audiences, and it was a huge success. Why do you think it touched and reached so many people in the way that it did?
I think it's because I was just being myself on Love on the Spectrum. I was being just myself. It's because I've always been told to never try to be something I'm not. Just stick to being myself. Because people love people who are being their true, authentic selves. And because it's very hard to keep up that charade long term if you're trying to be something you're not.
Yeah, it was also probably, would you agree, that we'd never seen love stories or never seen that kind of human side to that extent in mainstream media?
No, because a lot of these dating shows are based on drama and...
Yes. Rose ceremonies at the Bachelor and things like that.
Yep. In fact, I refuse to watch those shows.
Yeah.
Because I take romance and relationships like that seriously, and because there are some people in this world that don't value romance at all. They take it for granted.
And you've recently had your acting debut in Austen because Love on the Spectrum was more reality TV. Can you tell us what Austen is about and perhaps a little bit about your character?
Yeah, of course. Austen is about a children's book author who gets cancelled after retweeting a white supremacist. On his Australian book tour, his son Austen turns up and introduces himself as his biological son because Julian had a fling with his mother almost 30 years ago. Julian thinks that having a neurodiverse son would help him get his career back. Overall, it's just a very funny, wholesome show that everyone can enjoy, regardless of what age you are. Austen himself is the title character. He was a character based on me, actually.
Yes.
He has a blue-collar job. He's a forklift driver living in Canberra with his mother, who raised him alone.
Okay.
And his grandfather lives with him as well. He's just a very funny, optimistic person who doesn't try to be funny, and he has a lot of hilarious one-liners, and he speaks almost deadpan in some ways.
Well, we have a snippet. We're going to take a listen.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
You'll never see it coming.
Indeed he won't. Hello.
Big Bear or racism?
I'm here for the signing.
It's cancelled.
I'm your son.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
How'd it go?
I don't want to talk about it.
It didn't go how you'd hoped it might.
I can't answer that without talking about it.
Don't particularly want to see you. Your father's had an affair with an Australian woman.
You have a half-brother.
I'm on a quest to understand who I am and where I come from.
So you say that it was based on Austen, the character was based on you.
Yes.
What is it that you have in common? Because from my understanding, you're not a forklift driver, but
No.
you are a blue-collar worker.
I used to be.
Right. So what else do you have in common with Austen?
The other things I have in common with Austen is that we're both on the spectrum. Well, technically, I have Asperger's. I know the term is not used anymore, but that's what I was diagnosed with, so that doesn't change anything. And we say it like as it is.
Yeah.
People use that phrase, don't beat around the bush, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But I don't use that phrase, but I just like to say it directly as it is. Like me, Austen is quite direct and really blunt. I know some people can't handle that, but that's their problem.
It sure is, and I love it. I'm like that. I'm really
Thanks.
blunt. Why beat around the bush? It takes too much time, and who likes to hang out in the bush anyway?
No
Not
one.
me. Not me, certainly. How important is it that neurodiverse people have representation in shows and movies?
It is extremely important because only neurodiverse actors can play neurodiverse characters because that gives an authentic portrayal of
Yeah.
neurodiversity. Because if a neurotypical actor tries to pull off playing a neurodiverse character, it's not as authentic and it's hard to connect with because that only promotes more of neurotypical people, but
Yes.
we're supposed to be doing what we can to spread awareness about neurodiversity and make sure that they're included. And therefore, getting neurodiverse actors to play such characters is one of the best ways to spread awareness about it.
What's your favourite part about acting and filming and being part of Austen?
My favorite part about being Austen was working with all these amazing people, people that are my heroes, and that I've respected them for a really long time and really admired as well. And the fact that I was doing what I do best, which is acting, is one of my biggest passions because my life's work has two objectives: make people laugh and change the world to make it a better place for neurodiverse people.
Yeah, amazing. Two very important goals.
Yep.
There is something about acting that a lot of people wouldn't understand. And I've cameoed and did one acting role just recently.
Really?
In an ABC drama. But there's a lot of waiting around and there's a lot of doing the same thing from 75 different angles. Do you get bored, and how do you manage when, as you say, you're a straight shooter and perhaps you just don't want to be there anymore, or you just, what people don't realise is how much work goes in
Yeah.
to one scene, how many times you have to do it, there's a lot of waiting around.
Yeah, exactly, because they're doing all on different angles.
Oh my God, yeah. And so just to explain, like, would you get bored? How did you, yeah.
I would just retreat to the green room for some time to myself so I can just wait around while they're just doing what they need to do. And I just kick back a bit in that room and just wait until I'm needed again.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this misconception that acting is all fun and games. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Because acting is still a job at the end of the day. It's a career. But there are also some people who don't see it as a real job. They see it as just a hobby, which I personally find insulting.
Why do you find that insulting?
Because it's more than just a hobby. It is an actual career. But the only downside is it's an unstable industry with no regular income.
Yeah. And so because of that instability, do you think you'll continue acting, or do you hope to couple it with some other work?
I'm not too sure what the future looks like because I don't have all the answers. So I'm just taking each day as it comes, but I'm still hopeful and optimistic for more roles after this.
You did a TED Talk in 2022 about success. What was your main message and how was that experience? Because it's a full-on experience in front of 4,000 people at Town Hall.
It was a really wonderful experience to be able to tell people my life journey and how my views on success have changed. But the thing is, I guess my overall message to them was, if there's an opportunity that's given to you, you should take it. But also have faith while doing it, because your parents will try to talk you out of it because parents will often try to get you to choose a path that they want for you.
Yes.
But that's because that's easier for them as parents.
How was it giving your speech to a live audience?
I would say that the experience was, I'm actually very confident with public speaking. It's not nerve-wracking for me at all, unlike most people. So I guess all I can say is that the experience was very similar to Austin.
So what does, off the back of your talk a couple of years ago about success, what does success look like to you now? Like, has it changed much over the years?
Well, it hasn't changed too much. The only difference is that if someone said to me, why don't you get a life? My response is, here are some things a life needs. Wealth, inner peace, a house, a pet, a wife, and clearly an acting career. That's my idea of success.
Okay.
Because when you have a property and a wife and a career, those things make you a king.
And what about the pet? What type of animal do you like?
I prefer a cat.
Oh, I'm a dog person, but I won't judge you for it. You can like your cats and I'll like dogs.
I find dogs to be a lot of work and a source of too much noise.
Yeah, fair.
Like children.
Yeah, fair. You must inspire a lot of neurodiverse people because you're a role model for them. Did you have role models in acting?
Yes,
growing
definitely.
Up? Yeah.
I always had a lot of role models in acting. There was the cast of Gilligan's Island and some voice actors from Hanna-Barbera.
Yes.
Like Doris Butler, Don Messick, both R.I.P. In fact, all the voice actors who worked for Hanna-Barbera, they've all passed on, but they were all legends.
Yeah, amazing.
And some of my other heroes are Mark Evan Jackson, Phil Hartman, God rest his soul, and then there's list goes on. Really, it's just actors in general. They're my heroes because they brought me a lot of joy while I was growing up, and they still do to this day. So by being an actor, it's a perfect way for me to repay them for all the joy they brought me by performing this kind of work alongside them, so I can bring future generations joy like they did for me.
You now also host a podcast. Tell us about Mr. A+, what it's about and why you started it.
Mr. A+ is a podcast that I started in 2021. It's not really about any certain topic, because I interview a variety of different people from all walks of life, people that have interesting stories to tell. But I haven't done the podcast since October last year. I had to put it on hiatus while I was busy filming Austin.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you have a favourite episode that you've done or someone that you've met?
I don't have a favourite episode because I'm proud of all the episodes I've done.
Wonderful.
Well, especially the ones with guests, especially the ones with actors. They're the ones that I'm the most proud of.
Is there a particular actor or guest that is like memorable for you or?
Yes, there was quite a few of them. There's
Yep.
Justine Clark,
Amazing.
Susie Porter, Shane Jacobson, Stephen Curry, Mark Evan Jackson, Claudia Carvin,
Oh, wow.
Darren Hayes.
Oh, Darren Hayes. That was my childhood crush.
Really?
You don't seem impressed by that. I loved Savage Garden. I was certain I was going to marry Darren Hayes, but that didn't work out.
But he's gay.
I know. I didn't know that. As a 13-year-old girl, I didn't know that. But I still love his music and think he's wonderful.
Even my parents love Savage Garden as well. Also, with Mr. A+,
Yes.
the reason why I started is because it's a platform outside Love on the Spectrum that I could still connect with audiences. And while it was being developed, I made a vow to never talk about anything related to the pandemic.
Okay.
And therefore, I established a strict no COVID talk policy.
Very good. And you stuck to it?
Yep. It's because of the pandemic, New South Wales and Victoria were put through hell by their ex-premiers.
Yeah. Fair enough. Many would agree with you. But let's keep with your rule of not talking about it.
Yep, sounds good.
And put that to bed. You describe yourself as a hopeless romantic. You say
that's
that
right.
you want a wife. How's your love and your search for love going?
It's going well, I suppose, but I still haven't met the right person yet. Because every woman I've dated, most of them haven't been right for me.
Fair enough. It's a tough market out there. It can be a long
definitely
journey.
is. It certainly is.
What do you look for in a romantic partner?
Well, there are 7 requirements that you must tick.
Oh, I love that. You're so prescriptive. Okay, shoot.
Someone who's sharp, confident, and strong, is in a career that she's happy in and pays her well,
Okay.
is healthy physically and mentally, comes from a nice family, has a loving heart, and can handle being in a committed relationship with an actor, but someone that does not smoke or gamble or take drugs or drink regularly or have loads of piercings.
Loads of piercings. I mean, I guess they could remove the piercings.
Well, the piercings are kind of a turn-off.
Yeah, okay.
With
Fair
tattoos,
enough.
it all depends on what they are and if they're colourful.
Okay.
But if an entire body's covered with them, that is another turn-off.
Okay.
But with the gambling, drugs, and alcohol and smoking, those
a
are
no-no.
they're deal breakers.
Yep. Well, it's good to know what you want.
Exactly. And also because I kind of have a preference for a woman in her 30s
Okay.
because they're the kind of women that know what they want and they're more sure of themselves. That's what makes them women.
I love that. I love that you know what you want. All the best in your acting journey.
Thank you.
Hopefully now with a bit more time on your hands, you might return to Mr. A+.
Well, I'm actually working on revamping the podcast to a
Okay.
different format because the original format had run its course.
Well, best of luck with that. It's been
Thank you.
wonderful to get to know you.
Thanks, Antoinette. Pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for having me on.
That was Antoinette Lattouf and Michael Theo, and now it is time for the weekend list. This week we have our very own Bensian Siebert, one of our hosts of The Briefing. Bensian, welcome to the weekend list.
Yay! Hello. It's my first time. I'm so excited.
Yay, I'm so glad. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. What is your first recommendation?
Oh, my first recommendation is something that I just cannot stop recommending to people anywhere, everywhere, all the time. And that is this animated series called Scavengers Reign. Now, I know everyone's already thinking about space because of those astronauts that are stuck up in the International Space Station. And this does have like a lot of tropes. It's a crew that crashes on an alien planet. There's aliens, right? But what's different about this series is it's the most creative, mesmerizing, vibrant alien planet that you've ever seen. Like, the planet itself and its creatures are effectively a main character in this show. And often, like, the plot will kind of pause for a second and you will just spend like 4 minutes watching the weird, bizarre, incredibly sad, somehow tragic life cycle of some alien that just pops up. And there's no real reason for it in the plot, but because it's so weird and surreal and wonderful and sad, it's also just emotional. And I just cannot recommend this enough. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
But it has not been...
Great. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. It has not been on the top 10. And we need it to be on the top 10 so that it gets a season 2 because this thing is incredible and everyone needs to watch it.
Okay, so what's it called? And we need to watch it so it's on the top 10.
Yes, exactly. It's called Scavengers Reign. It's on Netflix and you need to get on it immediately. Your jaw will be on the floor most of the time, I promise.
Okay, I love this because I actually have never heard of it. And if it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's amazing. That had never happened. So yeah, it's really rare. Okay, I'm definitely jumping on board this one. So my first recommendation is cucumber salads. Now, it's by this guy called Logan on TikTok, and he has gone completely viral. Like, I'm talking millions and millions of views just for cucumber salads. He's been dubbed the cucumber guy. Like, the New York Times have written articles up about him. Like, it's wild, and they are delicious. I cannot recommend enough. All you have is a container or a kind of a jar. You slice your cucumber straight into the jar, like a whole cucumber with a mandolin slicer straight into the jar. Then you can do whatever you want. So he has created all of these different cucumber-inspired salads, like a salmon bagel-inspired salad.
Oh my God, yum.
Yeah, so good. There's just all of these flavors that he adds. The only thing that I'm always a bit like, what the heck, is he adds MSG to all of them. Is that normal?
Yeah, MSG is delicious.
Right. I know it's delicious, but I was like, God, I've never actually just bought MSG and added it to something. So yeah. That's the only thing I haven't been adding to mine.
Yeah, I think there was a real whole, basically just a racist thing in the late 90s, early 2000s of people being scared of MSG. But MSG is just like a seasoning. Makes things more delicious.
Yeah. I just couldn't find it in my supermarket. But that is my recommendation. That is my recommendation, cucumber salads by Logan. If you just Google Logan on TikTok, it will come up, no doubt. One of my also favorite videos of him making a cucumber salad in a lake or in the ocean. It's very random.
I always make meals in lakes, so he and I have that in common. My second recommendation is from Recipe Tin Eats. I know that Sasha had one from there last week, but unfortunately it's just really good. And this one is cashew chicken. And I pull this out on a regular basis because it's so easy. And once you've got the stuff for the sauce, you've got like soy sauce, sesame oil, oyster sauce, mirin, corn flour. Once you've got that stuff, you can just make this over and over and over again, and you just fill it with vegetables and chicken and add some rice, and then you've got a really easy weekday meal that's always going to be healthy. It's always going to be full of protein, and it's just so delicious with those cashews. So I cannot recommend that one enough either.
Yum. I love that when you don't have to re-buy ingredients over and over again. So yes, I'm going to be looking out that one. My next recommendations, now I was actually sent these products to try, and I'm going to give you my honest review. As you know, I'm in my running era.
Yeah, sure.
And I did the City to Surf last weekend, and oh my God, was it hard. 14 kilometers. I trained, but I got really sick the week before, but I did it. I didn't run the whole way, but I got sent some activewear to try. And now running activewear is really hard to get right, I think. And I got sent this activewear by Nimble Activewear. And so far, so good. The leggings, I got these in-tempo running leggings. Like they're made for running. They're made for high intensity. I'm giving the leggings an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5, wow.
Yeah, I'm giving it that. The only reason I'm not lowering it.
Yeah.
No, the only reason I'm not giving it 10 out of 10 is because I got the one with the phone pocket at the back and I just thought that was really unpractical and I felt like I was worried it wasn't going to fall out, but I preferred ones with the pockets on the side to put your phone or your keys in. That's pretty much one of the only downers, but the material was great. It made me feel really confident and feel really good working out. So that was a big tick. The sports bra, I'm giving an 8. Again, great support. It was the in-tempo, no bounce sports bra. And it's great, no bounce. So that was good. But the other things I was sent as well, which I was skeptical on. It's magnesium body lotion.
Okay. Why magnesium? What's it for?
So it's for relaxing your muscles and your body after you've worked out and, you know, you might do it after a big run like I just did. I got sent a lotion and a soak. Now, I don't have a bath, so I had to do my magnesium soak. I got a collapsible bucket. So if you want to do a magnesium soak on your legs, I recommend this, getting a collapsible bucket, putting the soak in there, and you can just dip it and fill up to your shins pretty much are covered.
Did you have this collapsible bucket beforehand or did you go out and purchase it
No,
just
I
for
bought
this
it.
purpose?
I bought it. I purchased it just for this.
Okay, great.
And I tell you, it worked. It was such a great idea. And it's really good for preventing shin splints as well. So this brand was called Epzen, and you can actually get it from Chemist Warehouse. But I definitely recommend the soak over the lotion.
Okay, you heard it here first. The soak over the lotion.
Thank you so much for that, Bension. I cannot wait to try the cashew chicken recipe. And we're going to get that Netflix show on the top 10 list, don't you worry.
We got to get it there. We need a season 2. I'm so desperate for it. It has to happen.
Well, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for being with us and tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Remember, if you want more of the Weekend Briefing, you can find us on the Listener app or wherever you get your podcasts from. And you can follow and subscribe us there. And it really does help when you follow or subscribe. It really helps new listeners find us. So we really appreciate if you can do that. We will be back on Monday morning where the team will have the latest headlines straight to your headphones, along with some very interesting interviews. Stay safe, everyone.
Listener.